Alright, and we are back. A little slight intermission there. I wasn't keeping an eye on my time. I kind of ran out of video time. Had to delete some stuff off my phone. I do have a 32 gig card, so working it. Nevertheless, here we are at page A7, bag A2 for parts. We're going to be putting this slipper clutch together. All our stuff that we need to get: this back pressure plate, some clutch material, the spur gear, some more clutch material, the front pressure plate. Looks like a little spacer of some sort that fits into the spring, and a washer and a lock nut. Tighten the nut down to the shaft until the spring is fully compressed. And it seems a little bit weird, but we're going to do that anyways, I guess. A little preemptive strike onto the next page here, A8. Motor not included. We got one sitting around here somewhere else. There we go. RC 4-wheel drive, crawler motor, 27 turn brush. I like the T-Rex on the top there. It kind of reminds me of the old Transformers back in the day. Right on. Alright, well, we'll get into bag A2 here, which it says is required, but once again, they're not telling you anything. I mean, I know it's totally obvious, but they should at least, let you know what you're going to be putting together here. Alright, so we'll just start getting out some parts. I'm sorry for, once again, apologize for the camera and all that other good stuff. Just starting out, so I'm using my phone and not a proper camera that I should have. Buying RC cars and I should be buying a camera instead, eh? Whipping out some parts. A2, 3. That looks like stuff for the shift servo and some of the linkage for that. These little plastic cups, I don't know what that's for. Looks like a drive shaft. Drive shaft and yoke and whatnot. Alright, well, let me get this baby open. Alright, so out of bag 2-1, A21. Got everything kind of lined up here how we're supposed to have it. We got our pressure plate, a little bit of clutch material, spur gear, more clutch material, another pressure plate, that one spring cup spacer, and another little spacer that goes on the other end of the spring. Whoa, before you put the nut on it. Where'd that go? There it went. Gotta be careful. And then the spring is right here in this little satchel. So right on, let me slap this mess together here, or start putting it together. And another thing about the pressure plates here before we get started, they both appear to be the same as far as not messing them up from one side to the other. This is definitely thicker material than the pressure plates that were on the Wltoys10428. I don't know about the 10428 in general, like just the 10428 number. I know my 10428a. I'm not too sure if there's a difference or not, but there is blue aluminum on my 10428a. On my buddy's 10428, he's got like the green aluminum stuff on his, like around the engine and whatnot. Mine had blue pressure plates on the inside, on the clutch or on the spur gear, and they were definitely thinner than this. Maybe two-thirds of thickness probably. I mean, not quite as thick as these guys. So once again, the Vaterra seems to be using a little bit stronger parts versus the WL. I don't know about the WL spur gear. This one's probably a Delron, which is pretty tough. I'm kind of guessing that's probably might be what the plastic on the transmission might be made out of too. They almost look like that, those big plastic bowls that you get at restaurants or whatever that they put hot stuff in, like a to put another hot bowl inside this whatever big plastic bowl or whatever. It kind of looks like that material. Just trying to describe it to you. Anywho, here we go. I think that's a 75 tooth there. So we'll slap this little baby together, start working on it. This clutch material though, dude, it almost feels like plastic. It almost feels like plastic. I know the clutch material that was on the WLs was kind of like a blue gasket type material. And it was literally half as thick as this. So that's probably why they want you to tighten down that spring all the way, because this is pretty slick. I gotta tell you, it's pretty smooth, just like a plastic disc. So I don't know what really is to gain by that, but regardless, we'll get this baby slapped together here real quick. And I'm back real quick here. Just want to use that little flashlight there. What's that say? All right, I'm trying to guesstimate on the gear position, if it matters, which way that spur gear is facing. And I was kind of wrong on the tooth too. I thought it was a 75 tooth. It's actually a 78 tooth, which it says somewhere around here, but I'm never going to find it with this camera and the flash and all that other crap, so must apologize. Right there, 78 tooth. Yeah, I got it. So we'll get this installed. I'm pretty sure that, I don't know if it matters what direction this goes in. I was trying to get a good look at it to see, but just as far as for pressure plate fitment, and it looks like there's like a slight groove in the gear. Sorry about the camera. Slight groove in the gear where that fits into. You know, otherwise it's just not going to sit like on that pressure plate. You know, there's nothing for it to sit onto, so just kind of wanted to get that position before I slid it into place there. And I should have focused in on this before. On the very back here, there is 4 little teeny weeny plastic grooves that I really couldn't see in my poor kitchen lighting. And the pressure plates or the little friction discs fit inside those little grooves, so that kind of keeps them held in place. And I am going to put this together with the 78 tooth marker facing out. I think it's kind of common sense that you want to be able to read how many teeth are on your gear. So once again, I'll get the slipping this one on. Now I actually picked up the transmission and held it upside down with one finger on the pressure plate before I slid the spur gear down with that clutch material on it, just to make sure that everything stayed where it needed to stay. And now I'm just going to kind of set it in between my pliers here, my robo grips, and put this other friction disc and plate on as soon as I can find it, because I seem to have lost it here in the whiteness. Alright, there we go. She's hiding under the robo grips. I can't believe I got that. I'm looking through the camera. Sorry. So there we go. That is locked in place. Our last little pressure plate. Not so easy looking through the camera. Voila. Alright. I want you to put this little plastic collar on. With the open side down to fit over top of the hub on the pressure plate there. And then this little lip sticking up so the spring has a little collar to slide onto. Just like so. And time to dig up the spring. So I'm going to have to bust out the exact zero knife or X-Acto knife and cut this little guy free. Alright, so out of yonder parts bag, I scavenged the spring. Placed on top like so. It's a little washer, spacer, whatever, cap. This goes with that little tapered part down or whatever, that little collar down, so it can slide inside the spring. And finally the nylon lock nut that goes on top. Alright, now they want me to tighten this down, excuse me, until it's tighten it down fully. So we'll crank this baby down off camera here. And according to the instructions, tighten the nut onto the shaft until the spring is fully compressed. And that is happening right now. And you definitely want to grab a hold of this as you're tightening it down so you can stop everything from spinning, so you can actually start tightening it down, or get it to tighten down. Alright, moving on. Page A8, motor installation. Alright, so I need to figure out what kind of spur gear that I want to start off with here. Or pinion gear, sorry, spur gear, I had that on my mind. What kind of pinion gear to start off with, and grab the old motor out of the case there and see what happens here.